Welcome to This Generation. I'm Bethany Stanley. On today's program, we take a look at our native tradition and how the youth of rural Alaska are keeping it alive. Our journey across the state starts in Savoonga, Alaska. Travel with me now to St. Lawrence Island, to the home of Alaska's Siberian Yupik people. It is defined by Webster's as the handing down of information, beliefs, and customs by the word of mouth or by example from one generation to another without written instruction. For the native people of Alaska, it is a way of life, a way of assuring that our culture will live on forever. It is tradition and the unique way of life that separates Alaska's people from the rest of the world. Whether it be the lessons of survival or the legends and stories told through song and dance, the ways of our ancestors still live on in the ways of our people today. It is the uncompromised dedication of our elders to teach these ways and the unquenchable desire of our youth to learn their history that makes the passing down of tradition possible. In Savoonga, Alaska, the youth display an undeniable pride on the dance floor as they paint the pictures of stories from yesteryear. Located on the north coast of St. Lawrence Island, the Siberian Yupiks of Savoonga are closely tied to the earth. They rely heavily upon the Bering Sea to provide most of their food.
This is dried Noongqook meat, mukluk, bearded seal.
Good?
Yeah. Delicacy.
Not only do they harvest seal, walrus, whale, and fish, but the nearby cliffs provide a nesting ground for the murres and the eggs that these sea-dwelling birds lay. In the neighboring village of Gamble, the only other village on the island, we find some locals stretching a walrus skin that will eventually be used to cover an umiak frame or skin boat.
You're gonna tie it all from here to there, all around. No, actually, this part's gonna be spliced and cut in half, just like this one's almost done. It's drying off right now.
By stretching the walrus skin, the fur lining can be easily separated from the actual skin.
Parts are coming out and some part is hard.
Eventually, the skin will look like this one when it dries. For Sam Otokiak, the day will come when he will have to stretch a walrus skin and cover his own umiak. It's through watching, listening, and learning this tradition that Sam will be prepared for that day.
It's about not doing drugs. It's about knowing where you come from, what you do, and who you are. It's It's about not doing drugs.
Each week, Heartbeat Alaska brings you great stories from all over the state. And we couldn't do it without the generous support of Frontier Flying Service. Frontier gets our camera crews where they need to go. So whenever you see a Frontier plane, give them a wave.
Say hi from Nooksook.
You might just be on Heartbeat Alaska.
Frontier Flying Service, covering Alaska for over 50 years.
Jeannie Green Productions, Alaska's premier commercial, documentary, and event production team. Whenever and wherever you need video production, our experienced, dedicated professionals give your project the extra edge you're looking for. Alaska Native owned and operated. Jeannie Green Productions, your complete video production service.
It's also through the passing down of tradition that Sam has learned how to carve ivory. Throughout the coastal communities of Alaska can be found some of the greatest ivory carvers in the world. Edwin Noongqook of Savoonga is one of those carvers that has built an outstanding reputation for himself through his artwork.
I like the idea of using my culture in the artwork because it helps recognize who I am and where I come from. I've started when I was younger at school. I took some classes with Alexander Akia, and when I traveled over to Gamble and I'd run into Ron, carving inspired me to carve something too. And I remember back when he asked me to carve a piece, and I didn't know how to carve it, and he'd get me started on that, and I'd ended up finishing it. And I came back and carved 5 more the same way and kind of picked up from there. And I tried doing different things when I'm working on, when I was first working on some human figures, and I thought I wouldn't do any faces, you know, and then I just grind it down anyways and carve it up a little bit, and then face would start to show, and as you're going, it would be finished. I'm doing an artwork about, I'm thinking of titling it Respect from a Hunter, and it's going to be a lifting of an elderly face, and it's going to be something about the lifting of a soul, something more in a respecting way. Our elders tell us about respect for the other animals that we hunt, and so I thought I'd do some artwork about that. I carved a bear at the tip of the tusk right here, and kind of twists up into a walrus, and then a whale, kind of twisted tail right there. And this is going to be a bearded seal. It kind of goes around the waist of the man that I'm going to be carving. And it's going to be stretched out as to where it's lifting an elderly face, and I'll carve up a young man's face right there and kind of make this more of an elderly face where it has a ruff there. And so it's kind of going to show a little, it's going to represent a story of lifting of the soul of an elderly man, and which it's going to show the respect for the animals.
With the harvesting of the walrus, the hunter also takes the tusks of the great mammal.
I'm going to be carving a whale on this side and probably a bear or something else on the other side, and he kind of liked the idea of having it out. And once I get it in there, it's going to be a nice looking tusk. But
Those are male?
yeah, these are male tusks. You can notice by the thickness and the length, and it's an adult male tusk, this one. And you could notice the difference between the female and the male by the thickness. And usually a bull is a lot bigger than female.
When these tusks are carved into artwork, they can bring a high price in today's market. Sam is well on his way to joining the ranks of master carver. Thanks to those who taught Sam what he knows about carving and the dedication of the young people of rural Alaska, like Sam Otokiak, this tradition will be carried on into the future.
Excuse me, we need to know who's going to be there.
Leave me alone! Okay, it may seem like I hate my parents, but what I'm really demonstrating is what a therapist would call asserting my individual identity.
We need to know.
It's none of your business! Sure, I say I want freedom, but without parental supervision, I'm much more likely to smoke pot and stuff. Oh, my parents, don't try to act like my friends. What I really need is parents.
You're not leaving till you give us the details.
Okay.
Talk, no, ask. Parents, the anti-drug.
Turn it up!
Turn it up!
Each week, Heartbeat Alaska brings you great stories from all over the state. And we couldn't do it without the generous support of Frontier Flying Service. Frontier gets our camera crews where they need to go. So whenever you see a Frontier plane, give them a wave.
Say hi from Noongqook.
You might just be on Heartbeat Alaska.
Frontier Flying Service, covering Alaska for over 50 years.
Racing is my anti-drug.
For generations, the Chupik Eskimos of Nunivak Island have maintained the finest herd of reindeer anywhere in the world. The flavor and nutrition of these magnificent free-range deer is unmatched and is now available in commercial USDA-inspected lots. This is the only official outlet for authentic Nunivak reindeer meat. For more information or to place an order, contact Nunavut Reindeer and Seafood Products, Box 42, Mokoriak, Alaska 99630, or call 907-827-8015. Supplies are limited.
From St. Lawrence Island, we travel to Selawik, where you will meet a carver whose artwork is millions of years old. Like the coastal communities of Alaska, many of the villages have exceptional artists as well. Norma Ballot of Selawik is one of those artists, only her medium isn't walrus.
Fossilized Mastodon, Ivory.
Selawik and the surrounding area is believed to be the area where thousands of mastodon crossed the tundra millions of years ago. Today, discoveries of mastodon tusks, many still intact, are being found. For the future carvers of Selawik, it's a unique medium that holds a fantastic history. And fortunately, for these youth, it can be found right in their own backyard. For Norma, passing this tradition on is something she loves to do. In fact, Norma teaches a carving class at the local school.
So you'd be amazed at how much you could actually make from just a simple piece like this, for instance. That one could probably go for $600 once I'm done with it. So you just got to be interested in it, and through trial and error, you'll eventually become professional. Once you get good with it, you could start your own business. You could even get a loan from Nana, and you tell them what you want and get a small loan from them, or even a grant, and order your tools, and you could even buy some ivory from local people. If you have any scratches on it, this is when it'll show up. Over the years from working with ivory, one thing I found out is that I'll leave some parts of it raw. Like for instance, this is going to be a bracelet.
On Kodiak Island, you won't find very many ivory carvers, but you will find a community that wears its pride well. On the southeast coast of the island, on the shores of Sitkalitic Straits, sits the community of Old Harbor, home to the Alutiiq people of Kodiak Island. Over the last few years, the village has seen a growing interest within the youth, an interest to know more about their history, about their culture, and about their dance.
We started out with a group of 5 kids, and I tried to get kids to join, but they were kind of shy because they were like, oh, I don't want to wear that, or I don't want to dance because people might laugh at us. Well, the group that I started out with, I told them we're not doing it for people, we're doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for our parents, and we're doing it for our culture. Because that's, you know, this is our pride, and this is the way we show people how proud we are of our culture here in the village. When they started teaching them the dancing, they had to learn the words first and what they meant, and learn what the meanings of the hand movements and everything meant.
We'll sing it in Aleut, English, and then Aleut.
The next song we're going to do is the Bashful Eyes, and this Bashful Eyes means it's an old traditional story where this chief from a village, you know, back then they said, okay, you're my daughter, you're going to marry this certain person from another village. Well, she was in love with another man. So Bashful Eyes is, she's hiding her eyes on the beach when the other dad is bringing her new husband to be, because they were chosen for you. You didn't have any choice. And she's hiding her eyes, and that's what Bashful Eyes is. We're very proud of who we are, and I'd love to show you the regalia. The top part that you see is the headpiece for a traditional Native woman, and these symbols, the more beads you had, the more wealthy you were. And the traditional way, the Alutiiq way, is your eyes are covered. Women were never allowed to look up. You always had to be covered. You always had to look down. And like I said, let's say this headpiece, that would be a chief's wife because of all the design. They'd trade beads. They'd get the birds. Everything would be handmade. Everything would be traditional, made out of seal, sinew, ivory, whale, and the bird's beaks. But this is a traditional Aleut headpiece. And the regalia that she is wearing right now is a traditional woman's regalia, and the same meaning with the headpiece. The more beads, the more ivory, the more decorations you had, the wealthier you were. Made out of rabbit, fox, weasel. And the drums we have were made out of seal hide and the bark of the trees. And the strings would be made out of sinew. So everything was all natural. Nothing was wasted. The kids are real interested in it, and there's one thing that we push. They're not here to get paid for it. They're here because, like I said, for their pride, for their parents, and to honor our culture.
Heartbeat wishes to thank Hagelin Aviation Services Incorporated for making our stories possible. We travel on Hagelin Aviation, and we thank you for choosing them too. Hagelin Aviation has been serving Alaskans in the bush for over 20 years.
We fly Hagelins all the time.
Operating with 29 aircraft at 8 stations across Alaska and servicing over 100 destinations daily. Hagelin Aviation, your ticket to ride in rural Alaska.
Make contact. Make friends. Make fun. Friends. Trouble.
Make a point.
Make it happen.
Make believe. Like good. Make new. Make clear. Make up your mind. Make peace. Make inroads. Right. Reference. Make change. Make change.
Make acceptance.
Make hate. Make something. Make a stand. Make art. Make a difference. Make a difference.
Make noise.
Why me? What do they want from me?
It's not fair. I need answers. Now I got a place to go. TeamCentral.net. When I feel trapped, I'm angry. I don't know the way out.
Depressed. And I don't get why. Things are so messed up.
TeamCentral.net help. I can feel better.
It's a website.
It's a website
created
like
by
your
teens.
team.
For teens like me. With stories like mine.
TeamCentral.net. Log on, work it out.
It's about not doing drugs. It's about knowing where you come from. What you do. And who you are. It's about not doing drugs.
Let's see. We took a look at our native dancing, our native foods, our native artwork. What's missing? Oh, yeah. For these young ladies from Huslia, Alaska, it's about the native tradition of fun.
This is Mission Control. We have liftoff.
These girls are running Tim Pavlik's dogs around 6 Mile Track. It's a part of their heritage that they will someday pass down.
Right now, Nadia and the kids are going to get the food ready to feed the dogs. This is a blend of dog food, oils, and bone meal. They're going to mix it until the food's really mixed up nice. The kids are helping me out with the dogs like they usually do. They've been looking forward to running them all summer long. They help me feed the dogs all summer, clean the yard, water them. They enjoyed it a lot. Sometimes I had a four-wheeler to hook up my dogs, and I had a four-wheeler behind us, and both are packed.
And we can't forget the age-old tradition of hooky bobbing. It's almost like a kind of sport. Oh yeah, speaking of sports, nothing will make you sweat more than the tradition of competition. In Shishmaref, Alaska, the girls' team is practicing for the upcoming Native Youth Olympics.
Okay, go.
Irene Ahgupuk competes in a variety of events that range from scissors broad jump to the Alaskan high kick, while Nicole Turner specializes in the one-arm reach. A little further south, youth from St. Mary's and the surrounding villages are competing in the Native Youth Olympics, held this year in St. Mary's. Unfortunately, our stay in St. Mary's was brief, and we only had a chance to videotape 3 events: the Alaskan high kick, the wrist carry, and the 1-foot high kick. Some competitors couldn't even reach the ball with their hands, but with their feet, well, their feet were another story. The competition was fierce. As the ball was raised, so were the standards. But like most of the youth of rural Alaska, these athletes rose to the occasion. In the end, every one of these athletes was a winner, for when they display their talents and love for what they're doing, they carry on a tradition that has survived for centuries. What a great show! It's always inspiring to see that Native youth across the state are keeping tradition alive. And a special thank you to all the elders and adults that never stop passing down their wisdom. We couldn't do it without you. Until next time we meet, God bless and be with you.